Today on Bridge City News, the Lethbridge supervised consumption site is planning on boosting security after yesterday's drive-by paintball shooting. Prime Minister Trudeau met with U.S. President Donald Trump today to discuss the new North American trade agreement. And for Disney fans, we will show you a sneak peek of the upcoming Star Wars spin-off TV series, The Mandalorian.
Your nation, your province, your southern Alberta. From the heart of Lethbridge, it's Bridge City News with Paul Arthur.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Staff at the Lethbridge supervised consumption site say they will likely boost security following a drive-by paintball shooting just after midnight on Saturday. Site director Jill Manning says she believes the threats are coming from a fringe element and don't reflect the majority of the people. Police have released a picture of the suspect's white pickup. One staff member was hit multiple times in the throat, chest, torso, and leg, causing bruising and cuts. There have been protests after Lethbridge City councillors voted down a motion calling for the Alberta government to pull its funding for the consumption site. Lethbridge Community College has announced it will be launching a 4-year research project in partnership with the potato growers of Alberta. The project is being funded by a $400,000 government grant from the Canadian Agricultural Partnership. Students will get to participate in the study of 5 different potato fields throughout southern Alberta, using a variety of soil types and topographies and observing how moisture reacts with and affects potato crops. According to a new study from the University of Alberta, Syrian refugees were more satisfied with settlement services and their community when they went to a smaller or mid-sized city. Dr. Sandeep Agrawal, the director of the School of Urban and Regional Planning, compared the experiences of Syrian refugees in Edmonton and Lethbridge. One of the reasons for this is that the smaller size lets agencies and individuals come together more quickly and allows them to be more creative in their service delivery. However, the study also suggests that larger cities may have more success in the long term with more diverse job prospects. Saskatchewan's economy minister says the province's energy sector has lost about 1,500 jobs over this last year, although he admits he can't directly link the losses to the federal carbon tax. The province is taking its challenge of the tax to the Supreme Court, with one of Premier Scott Moe's arguments being the tax is flawed because it costs jobs. Economists say the tax hasn't been in place long enough to determine its impact on employment. Manitoba's progressive conservatives are pledging to implement Clare's Law if they are re-elected in next month's provincial election. It would allow police to warn people if their partner has a violent history and was named after a UK woman who was killed by her partner who had a violent record she knew nothing about. Saskatchewan became the first province in Canada to enact such legislation earlier this year. The Tories say a re-elected PC government would also extend eligibility under the Employment Standards Code for leave to all victims of sexual violence. A patient considered a public safety concern by Toronto police has been found hours after he was reported missing from a mental health hospital. The man had last been seen Friday during an escorted walk at the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health and was found Saturday, although police are not saying where or how he was discovered. He was the latest in a series of 3 patients with violent criminal histories to disappear from Cam H. One of the men managed to flee the country and remains at large. 2 reviews, one external, one internal, will examine how these incidents happened. It has been another violent weekend in Toronto. Police say a man is dead after a shooting early this morning. Yesterday, a suspected gangland shootout in the city's north end between 2 groups ended up wounding 4 men. Police are looking for at least 4 suspects. Nova Scotia Premier Stephen McNeil and Halifax Liberal MP Andy Fillmore are both condemning a billboard that urges Canadians to say no to mass immigration. The billboard has Maxime Bernier's face on it, as well as his People's Party of Canada logo. But Bernier's party says the billboard is not theirs and that it was authorized by a group called True North Strong and Free Advertising Corporation. The mood between leaders at the G7 summit in France has been described as tense, with a clear divide reported between U.S. President Trump and the other 6 leaders. White House Press Secretary Stephanie Grisham says Trump was greatly misinterpreted. Trump was asked if he had any second thoughts about escalating the trade war with China and responded that he had, quote, second thoughts about everything. Grisham says Trump regrets not raising the tariffs higher. Prime Minister Trudeau and Trump sat down earlier today for a private meeting.
We've had some good conversations already, particularly on the global economy. Canadian and American economy are doing well, partially because of the trading relationship we have and the great work we did. Quite frankly, around the table, there's a lot of people wanting to make trade deals with each other, and we have a deal that we were able to negotiate that's good for our workers, good for our citizens, good for the middle class, and that's the kind of thing that we need to see more of around the world. Always a pleasure to talk about a broad range of global issues.
So we're going to be significantly expanding our trading relationship when the USMCA gets done and completed. Our farmers love it, the unions love it, the workers love it, manufacturers love it, everybody likes it. I think most Democrats like it, so hopefully that'll be put to a vote fairly soon. It's got tremendous support, both, I believe, Democrat and Republican. It has been signed and finalized essentially by Canada and essentially by Mexico. So we're waiting for that from the United States, and we have really great support, and it's something, I think it's a very special agreement.
Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif made an unannounced visit to the G7 summit today. After his plane touched down in Biarritz, he headed straight to the building where the leaders had been debating how to handle Iran's nuclear ambitions. Zarif met with the French foreign minister and apparently was not going to be holding any meetings or negotiations with American officials during this trip. Despite international concern about fires sweeping through parts of the Amazon rainforest, Brazil's president says the situation is returning to normal. Jair Bolsonaro has faced intense criticism over the fires, but insists they have only burned previously deforested areas and intact rainforest has been spared. He has authorized Brazil's military to join the efforts to extinguish the flames. More than 3,000 Rohingya refugees protested in Bangladesh today to mark the second anniversary of their exodus from Myanmar. The refugees are demanding their citizenship and other rights from their home country. Myanmar has consistently denied human rights violations and says military operations were justified in response to attacks by Rohingya insurgents. For Disney fans, the annual D23 Expo attracted crowds in Anaheim, California over the weekend, and Jon Favreau, the creator of the upcoming Star Wars spin-off TV series, The Mandalorian, tells us what fans can expect.
We really set out to make The Mandalorian a grittier version. You know, you got freaks and geeks. This is the freakier side of Star Wars. You can still be geeky, but I think it's nice to have that Mad Max type edge, that dirt under the fingernails. And after the Empire falls, after Episode 6, after Return of the Jedi, you got chaos reigning over the galaxy, and I think it's fun to watch those edgier characters emerge who could survive in that type of environment.
Well, it's at heart it's a Western, so it really shares a lot more with with those old classics of like the lone cowboy or like the Ronin or the lone samurai, the masterless samurai who's just and bounty hunters. So they're just wandering the landscape by themselves. Because of that larger universe, it can keep expanding, and I think there's still room for these different worlds to mix and become and intermingle with each other.
Recapping one of our top stories this hour, the Lethbridge Supervised Consumption Site is planning on boosting security after yesterday's drive-by paintball shooting. One staff member was hit multiple times in the throat and chest, causing bruising and cuts. And a look at weekend weather. There is a risk of a thunderstorm this evening, along with a 60% chance of showers overnight and a low near 7. Tomorrow, a mix of sun and cloud with a northwest wind gusting from 20 to 40 in the afternoon and a high of 18 degrees. Jennifer Christie is a woman who was violently raped, impregnated, and later gave birth to her baby and decided to keep the child. It is an emotional and powerful story. That is next. But first, here's a look at what's happening in and around your community.
Here's your Bridge City News Community Calendar. The 11th annual Care for Kids Golf Tournament is taking place Thursday, August 29th at Paradise Canyon Golf Resort, benefiting the Lethbridge Food Bank and the Canadian Tire Jumpstart program. $20,000 of the proceeds will go directly to children in our community to help them participate in sports and activities. For details on how to take part as a player or sponsor, visit lethbridgefoodbank.ca. Are you going through divorce or separation? Find support and encouragement with Divorce Care, a support group that will be meeting weekly, beginning Tuesday, September 10th at City Light Church from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Cost is $30 for the workbook. For more information, visit divorcecare.org or call John and Sandy Dick at 403-892-7046. And that's your Bridge City News Community Calendar.